So if I click on the Exchange, it will open up the Exchange Admin Center for us. Okay. And I will open up the Teams Admin Center as well. Remember, I can only access all these admin centers because I am a global admin. All right. If I don't have the right to access this, I will not be able to open up this admin centers. Okay. And as I mentioned before, there are different roles that you can assign to a user. Okay. And what I mean is, if I want to make a different user an administrator of a certain service or a certain application, I just go into the user account under roles. I can see a bunch of admin accesses that I can assign to the user. You can always play around with this. So if I want Ben here to be an Exchange administrator, what this means is it would have full access to the Exchange Online admin center and make changes to everybody's mailboxes and things like that. If I want them to be help desk, SharePoint admin, Teams admin, all of that, I can always set it up here. So there are a bunch of other services and accesses that you can provide to a user. So you can read up on that and play around with that as well. All right. So this is the Teams Admin Center. Okay. This is where you manage everything that has to do with the Teams application, the users, the channels, everything that has to do with that service, the Teams service, Microsoft Teams. This is where you can set up policies. This is where you can configure certain restrictions, certain policies, and just uh, manage fully what happens with that application. All right. And like I said, everything is connected. So if you go to manage teams, you would see the two groups that we have created earlier, which is the one that was automatically created and the training users. So they are all created. All right. You can see the amount of total users that we have. You can easily come here as well. And you see all the details of all the users that we have. You see if we have phone system set up, you can see the phone numbers, you can see more details and all of that um, available. Okay. You can set up meeting policies if you want to restrict certain things, or if you want to, just set up certain privileges for your users, just to manage what they do on Teams. This is where you come to do all of that. Okay. So take note, you can always play around with this. It's fine. Just read up on what each of the features do and how you can, work with them and how you can use them in your organization. All right. So this manages Teams. Okay. So remember that. And this is called the Exchange Admin Center. The Exchange Admin Center is where you manage every mailbox in your organization, not just the mailboxes, but also the policies and security and everything that has to do with the user mailbox account. Okay. So all the users automatically are going to be visible in Exchange as well. Like I said, they are all connected. Okay. As you can see, all the users that I created are here because they all have mailboxes. All right. If I turn off the Exchange online license for Ben, if I turn this off, it would automatically be removed from Exchange because it would no longer have a mailbox. All right. So always take note of that. The feature, the application that you give them access to is what will be provisioned for them. Okay, as I mentioned in the past. So this is where we manage, every user's mailbox. If you want to set up certain policies, or if you want someone to access, their emails, or you want to delegate access to certain people, and all of that, you can do it from here. I always make sure to read up on this delegation and policies here, and just to see more details about the mailbox, the size of the mailbox, and some of the other policies that we have. Okay, so you can play around with this as well. There are a lot more things here. Like as I mentioned, this is very wide, and you need to take your time to actually go through, the documentations of each of these applications, just to familiarize yourself with how it works and what policies you can set up and how you can actually do more things. Okay, so like I said, this is mainly a basic view of things. So remember to read up on your own, go through the guide that I shared, so that you can always follow the learning path and learn and also practice as you're learning with these tenants that I just showed you how to build. Okay, and last not least of the admin centers that we want to touch on is the SharePoint admin, um, which pretty much manages everything that has to do with SharePoint. Okay. The site that we created earlier is visible here, as well as the other groups that we've created in the past, which is training users and all company-wide um, group that was created automatically when we created the infrastructure, the organization, or the tenant. That's what we call it in the Microsoft space, a tenant. Here, it's simple. You can also set sharing policies, settings, just manage everything that has to do with that application in your um, infrastructure. Okay, so just take note, play around with it, read up on what you can actually do. I'm sure if you look here, you would see the space that is available to your organization. You have 1.24 terabytes of space that your organization can use to store data. This can always be increased. You can read up on the features and what you can actually do and accomplish with all this applications and uh, resources that are available. Okay, so just play around with that and take a look at what you can actually accomplish with this. Okay, it's not so difficult. It is pretty straightforward once you know what you're looking at. I've given you a framework. This is all you need to know to access all of the other available accesses, right? All you need to do now is read up and on each and every one of these services, familiarize yourself with them, play around with it, create as many user accounts that you want to create, give them certain accesses, restrict accesses, just play around with it and, try to implement something, some policies, or, you can sign in as any of these users here. You can, reset their passwords, do, everything that you can do. Just make sure that you do not, make so much changes with the admin account because it is an admin account. And the moment you are unable to log in to this account anymore, you can always retrieve it, but always make sure to be very careful. The admin account is very important because this is the only account that you can use to access the admin center. Okay, so take note of that. But with that said, you can access any of the services that we've mentioned in the PowerPoint. Remember to just play around with all of that. And I'm just going to note again that remember to turn off the subscription if you don't want to be billed at the end of next month. So please remember to do that. I'm going to show you how to do that again. Under billing, you would see your products. If you click on it, you would see your Office 365 E3 license trial that we subscribe to. Okay, it expires in a month. So in order for them not to bill your card, you can easily, edit the recurring billing and turn it off. Okay, so please remember to do that. All right. You can also cancel the subscription if you want to. It doesn't matter. It will end in 1 month anyway. Okay. And a cheat that I can give to you is if this one expires, you can always come to purchase services and buy another trial license or subscribe to another trial license, maybe the business basic, or you can do any of these licenses. They all have trials that you can just keep doing trial and trial and trial until you practiced enough, you understand the interfaces you've tested, just to make your training much more easier. You can always keep subscribing to trial licenses as you go, but just make sure that you're getting licenses that actually have access to all the services that you want to trade on. All right. So I'm going to share with you links to documentations that you can use to familiarize yourself with the services and play around with it, as well as just see what you can do um, within this technology stack. Okay, I mentioned something about security and compliance, the compliance center. Here underneath the admin centers, you would see you have a security admin center, and you also have a compliance admin center. And these admin centers are where you would set security policies to, restrict certain accesses to your account or to your user account or to your organization, as well as make policy changes, email threat protection, and a lot of other things. And review exchange mailbox and spam rules and all of that. You can set up all of those in all this security and compliance admin centers. So you can also play around with this. Like I said, all these are very wide, so you have to take your time to learn each of the services one at a time and familiarize yourself with it. Because I'll be honest with you, in every company they always have specialties. Okay, if you decide to specialize in just one service, maybe SharePoint or Exchange or Teams, because each of the services are wide. So you can decide to specialize in one, and I can assure you that you would see jobs available for each of the services. You would be amazed. So you just need to um, take more trainings, do your research, play around with it, familiarize yourself with it, and possibly do some free um, certification exams on these applications and this technology. It's available online. You can just search for the first one, which I think I provided you the link to, is the Microsoft 365 fundamental exam, which you can definitely just, after you've researched and you've trained yourself and familiarized yourself with the platform, the infrastructure, and everything, you can just try your hand on the fundamental certification. Just try to write it, and it gives you a brief overview of everything in Microsoft 365. It's basic. It's the simplest certification that you can write just to test your skills on it, as well as you can also go through the learning path here. These are documentations provided by Microsoft for you to familiarize yourself with everything that has to do with Microsoft 365, at least on the basic side of things, the fundamentals. Okay, so please look at that as well and just familiarize yourself with it. Okay, let's see what else is there. All right, so this is where you can manage everything. You can access everything from the admin center. So remember, if you want to log in to your admin center after this, you just need to take note of the uh, address. It's admin.microsoft.com, and once you log into that, you would be able to access your account. Okay. One step that I always that most users are or most administrators put in place now is when you create a new user, you want them to be as secure as possible. And one of the things that you can set up is what we call multi-factor authentication, which allows you to secure your user account and user data. So if I create a new user, I want them to set up multi-factor authentication, and I want them to use that, right? As an administrator, how do I do that? You would see that under active users, there's an option here called multi-factor authentication. You can simply go here and you can set up the policies to allow each user to, enable multi-factor authentication for them. If I enable multi-factor authentication for Ben Jackson, the next time that Ben Jackson signs in, it will be prompted to set up multi-factor authentication. And this would be automatically with the Microsoft authentication app or authenticator app on your phone. All right. You can also set it up with the text message or whatnot, but it's a way to safeguard your accounts, and it's one standard policies that every administrator um, puts in place right now. So be aware of that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop here for today. You can play around with this. We would send you links to further documentations, and if you have any questions, do let us know, and we will, do well to answer. But play around with this, create users, create mailboxes, play around with each of the admin accounts, do some research. Whatever feature that you see there, you can simply search it on the internet, and it will bring up documentations on those features, so you can get more details on what they're about, how they work, and then you can just familiarize yourself with it and build a career of that skill. Okay, this is something that every or majority of companies all around the world use, and just so you know that I'm not bluffing here. I can open. You can just go to LinkedIn and just search for, jobs with Microsoft 365 or Exchange or Teams or SharePoint, and you see the list of jobs there available. Not in everywhere in Nigeria and the UK, abroad, anywhere. So these are skills that you need to, if you want to go this route, you can just build up your skills, do more training on it, research more on each of the applications and services, get familiar with it, and you would be able to do well in when you apply for those jobs, or when you go on into interviews, because you already have the basic knowledge, you already know how to do certain things, and it's just a quick way to start. Okay, so yeah, we will stop here for today, and if you have any questions or you want more accesses, just let us know, and we will provide it for you. I'm just gonna stop my screen sharing here. And thank you guys for joining in today. And yeah, we will see you on the next training.